Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Skaven Plays. Today I'm going to be going over all 6 new battle tactic cards, which ones I think are good for Nurgle, which ones you should completely avoid, which, spoiler, is half of them, and we'll see how we go. First one on the list is the Master of Paths. First part, kill an enemy hero. Pretty easy for us, pretty obtainable. Probably not in the first turn, maybe the second or third turn. We do have good hero sniping potential, especially with our new prayer lore. Diseases help too. If you're running with a demon prince, you can have him go in and snipe something. Pretty good. I like it. Seize the paths. If there are more friendly units in neutral territory than enemy units. Not the best. If we look through some of these, I've marked 5, 9, 11, and 12. All of these are full half deployments. So for all those ones, you need to have no enemy units within friendly territory. That's easier said than done, especially for the second tier. And on some of these also, like this one here, you're probably going to have some forces centered here. We're slow, our buff pieces don't want to move out. We don't want to spread out completely. It's not ideal. Some of these is not bad, but it's not ideal, especially since it's a second part of the tactic. If this was the first part, this would be pretty nice and easy. If these two were switched, this would be a good tactics card for us. Well, except for the last part, Envelop and Strangle. 3 different units, wholly within 9 of a different corner of the battlefield. Just no, we aren't fast. If you're playing Affliction Cyst, maybe. If you have Gut Rot that has a few units in him, maybe. But those are very niche things. You can build a list for this card. Is that list going to be the best? I don't know. This edition is still new. This could be the way we end up going. But like for right now, for standard Nurgle, for castle builds, for anything that is not flies and deep strike shenanigans, maybe Hordy resing a beast somewhere might help. But like, this is not what we want to do. This third one is nearly unobtainable for us. I'd stay away from this card for now. But who knows what'll happen later. We don't know yet. Intercept and Recover. This has been one of my main go-tos. Your opponent picks 3 units. They get a treasure. You have to kill them. Again, we're pretty good at killing targeted units. We're good at killing buff pieces with the prayer, with disease. We can get there and we can kill a specific thing pretty easily. The only downside is if we take a double turn, they get to remove a treasure. But that's not as bad as it seems. You're rarely ever going to have a game where you take 2 double turns. 1 double turn will usually end the game, and those 5 points you lost in a tactic means that you've probably stopped your opponent from getting tactics. So I'd say it's well worth it. Pretty easy, pretty nice. It can be annoying against certain armies that have like very fast things that can either teleport around or jump around. And sometimes you're only going to get 1 score of this, maybe 2. But overall, I'd say it's pretty solid. Really annoying against Zeech though. Which, yeah, if Zeech becomes really hot in the meta, which I'm hoping they don't, maybe pick one of the others. But for now, this has been my most reliable one. Next one. Relentless Energy. This one I have very mixed feelings about. This first part, take a tactic that your opponent controlled at the start of your turn. Super easy, especially if you're going second. Most of these maps have a midpoint objective that you're fighting over. You're going to walk on it. You're going to take it with something with good control, a unit of kings, bunch of plague bears, and then you've scored the tactic. The second one, if your turn you control every objective with an enemy territory. That one is tricky. And let me pull up my notes here. Restless Energy. The first map has 1 objective in the enemy zones. Not too bad. Paths of the Fae. I wrote free for some reason. Let me double check to see why. Because there's only the center objective on Paths of the Fae. That's the best tactic here. You're going to get that one almost cyclically. Or almost conditions. This one's hard unless you have Deep Strike. This one's pretty hard too. Like this second one, some of these battle plans are going to be a gimme. Some of them are going to be extremely difficult to do. If you're running an Affliction System, you can teleport around and kind of make that happen. It's not as bad, but the problem is that it's a second tactic. So your opponent's going to have time to respond to you, to wherever you put them. They're going to have time to move over and take those objectives back and make it difficult for you. So it's not great. The second part of this already makes this difficult. In the third part, you control every objective on the battlefield. You won the game. That's what this is saying. You've already won. Here's an extra 5 points. So overall, like, it's not the worst card in the bunch. It's not my favorite, but I still would stay away unless you have a list specifically tuned for it in mind. Something with Gut Rot and Affliction Assist list might do this one okay. And you're going to hear me bring up Affliction Assist a lot. It's because with all these new tactics, I think Affliction Assist might have more play than it did before. I personally still don't like it because you lose the damage on your disease. But it's looking better than it was before. So if you're a fan of Affliction Assist, some of these new tactics are for you. Scouting Force. This one is not for you if you like Affliction Assist. And let me explain why. At the start of the battle, non-hero infantry and cavalry units wholly inside friendly territory become scouts. So if you use your Affliction Assist to deep strike out, they're not scouts. And it's fine on these maps that are half board because you can just sit on the edge and make them scouts. But like for something like this, you pretty much just throw away your bonus to make them scouts, or you give away your tactic card, and you don't get the choice. So it's not bad. You can make a list for Affliction Assist. I'd make it, or for Scouting Force, I'd still make it a fly heavy list or a drone heavy list, and I would not use Affliction Assist because these are all the half border ones. There's 4. In these 4, it's gonna feel really good. You're gonna get this stuff for free. In everything else, it's gonna feel real bad. And in some of these, like this one here, there's only 3 things to control for the second tier. The second tier is you need 3 objective or terrain features to control in any combination by a friendly scout, and they must be within enemy territory. Now, there is one thing you can do to cheat that a little bit, and it is... Oop, should have done that. Just gonna grab the bag. My favorite little tech piece. Horty. Horty can walk in, drop a tree in the opponent's side of the field, and then just have something else contest it, and then it's a win. You got a piece. It's very nice. Something to point out too, it does say contest and control, but they don't necessarily have to be the same model. Let me explain. Say, this is my group of reinforced drones. That's very silly. I am contesting this objective, this place of power, this place of power, and this obscuring terrain. Now say your opponent has some pieces here. That's fine. My Rodigus is giving me 10 control. So I now own this, and I am contesting it with a scout unit. The scout unit doesn't have to be the one owning it. These can only count for contesting on one of the objectives and 1 terrain piece, or for owning, rather, for control. But they count as contesting for all of them. So that is something to keep in mind. It's something you can do. Also, drones and Puskos are both very good for this tactic because you charge in, you fight, and then you power through away. With the changes to all-out attack and all-out defense, they've become a little bit less relevant for our army, especially the attack one. So we often have that extra command point for power through. And that can make this tactic easier because one of the important things is out of combat. They can't be scored while they're in combat. So go in, hit with a fly, hit with a drone, and then you just move your 8 inches away with a power through. And the second one, or the last one rather, battle attack at the end of the turn. If a scout unit was not set up this turn, contesting a terrain feature you control wholly with enemy territory, and that is more than 6 from friendly territory. So, some maps, that's pretty easy. That's not too bad. Nice and easy to do. This one here, Roiling Roots. This piece is not more than 6 inches from mid neutral. I don't know what they do for this one. I don't know if this is just not obtainable on this one. If you have to put Horty back there, which that's a good jog for Horty to make all the way across the map. So I don't know. But again, the third one really is win more on some maps. But like, this is one of the only ones that a fly list can just do. It's good if you do a fly list. If you do another list, I wouldn't bother. A Blight King spam list doesn't want to do it because they want to be in combat. If you're having fun and running a bunch of Nurglings, you can do this one. It's interesting. If you make a list for it, it can be good, but I think you have to make a list for it. So that is definitely a nomination that I'm going to make that we can do. Next one. Wrathful Cycles. Control an objective that an opponent controlled at the beginning of the turn. Easy. Oh no, sorry, that's the wrong one. This is control more objectives than your opponent. Easy. That's what we're trying to do anyway. You're going to be able to get this one in the first couple turns probably, unless your opponent really locked you out. Not bad. The second part is, and this is the one that I hate. I've tried this one a few times. It's half your army has to fight, and you have to already be the underdog. The hard part about that isn't the half your army likes to fight, because we've probably got more than enough pieces that want to sit in there and fight. It's that you have to be the underdog first. And the only problem with that is we have to have already scored one of these battle tactics to be the underdog. That's rough. If the underdog one was first, I think it'd be fine. But the fact that you have to get underdog after scoring a tactic is hard. Your opponent can really deny it just by tying the game, keeping it close, until the point where this is your last tactic you're going to score. It's not ideal. I don't like it. And then the last one, no friendly units. Bit attacking later turn, different friendly units in each hard score of the battlefield. You control more objectives. You've won the game. This is, I have tabled my opponent. I've won the game. I'm getting an extra 5 points. I don't like this card. It was one of the first ones that I tried to do. And I had to engineer situations to get the second one constantly. And if I got the third one, I've tabled my opponent. I don't recommend this card. It's not the worst one here, but it's close. It's probably the second worst one here. And then the last one, Attuned to Ghyran. Now, this has been my other staple. The two cards I've gone into the fight with almost every time, if I don't have a list for Scouting Force, has been Intercept and Recover and Attuned to Ghyran. Why? The first part is just seize the center. Two things are going to happen with that. We're going to get it for free, or your opponent's going to move into deny us, which means we get into combat early, which is what we want to happen. So either we're going to have this scored turn 1, or we're going to have it turn scored... Bleh. We're either going to have this turn scored turn 1, or we're going to have it scored turn 2 to 3 after we've fought and diseased half our opponent's army. That's exceptional. It's wonderful. Love it. The second part is bait and trap. You know, 2 things retreat, 2 things charge. There's a unit we have that loves to retreat and charge, and it's these. The drones make this wonderful, and I love them for it. I fully recommend bringing at least one group of drones in most lists now. So you put charge in, have the drones retreat out, and you have a plague bear or something retreat, a group of Nurglings retreat, doesn't matter. As rules as written, by the way, right now, you can retreat, you can take your D3 mortal wounds, you can make your wards for those mortal wounds, and then choose not to do the move. That is rules as written. I highly suspect it's going to get FAQ'd, that it's not going to be something that we can use, which is a shame because we're probably the best army in the game to abuse that. But I don't think it's going to stay. I wouldn't practice that way. I don't practice that way now. But I'm letting you all know that rules as written, that's what it is currently. I had that verified by Madigan too. But don't practice that way. I don't think it's going to stick around. Everybody I've talked to doesn't think it's going to stick around. It's going to be an FAQ. And the last one, no enemy units when they're friendly, no enemy units when they're neutral. It's another, I've tabled my opponent, I've won the game. Not something that, the third on all of these cards, except for Scouting Force, is I've won the game. Most people aren't going to be scoring the third on their cards. If they do, they've tabled the other person. So really, when you're looking at these cards, look at the first two. How can I do those first two? And then focus on primary. We are an army that does primary very well. And it's what it's most going to be. These cards, both these cards, you can only get 30 victory points from these cards. We can get 50 from primary. And more importantly, if we deny our opponents more primary, granted, you get 5 for 1, which we're probably not going to be able to stop them from getting 1. But we can probably do a fair bit to stop them from getting the other 5. Force them to move us off objectives, come into our range, let us hit them. And then, a lot of times, we just end up tabling them. So I don't recommend trying to build a list for the third ones. Build a list for the first two. These are the two I recommend the most. Scouting Force is also fine. And if you're crazy, some of the other ones. But that's what I've done with tactics so far. I usually stick to Intercept and Recover and Attuned. Yeah, Attuned to Ghyran. Scouting Force if I have a heavy fly list and drone list. But that's pretty much it. And I want to end this video by thanking everybody who subscribed. Thanking all of my members. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers, which feels like a fever dream compared to where I was just a few months ago. And I want to thank you all. You've helped me grow this channel quite a bit. I've gotten to the point where I can almost run ads. And that's going to be very exciting for me, the wife. But yeah, just thank you, everybody. I'm going to be putting out 2 more videos, maybe just 1 more today. I need to see where I'm at with one of the other ones today. And they're both going to be along the same vein. I'm going to be talking about some of the battle plans, and I'll be going over some basic list guide, how I think some units will perform in the new GHB. If I have enough there, we'll see. You'll know. They'll be out probably within an hour of this one going live. But again, thank you, everybody, and I hope you all have a good day.